Hello, welcome to the lecture series on vehicle dynamics. Now let us discuss road loads and estimate tractive resistance due to these road loads. If you just consider a car while running, what all the resistances it will be subjected to, or which are the forces will resist this motion. You can see one of them is the aerodynamic resistance. Aerodynamic resistance. Another one is the rolling resistance. And whenever it is on the level road, then there will not be any gradient resistance. But if you come across a gradient, then there will be a gradient resistance. Basically, these are the three resistances that resist the motion of a vehicle. So these resistances we call it as tractive resistance. Tractive resistance. So rolling resistance can be determined using the equation F suffix RW. This is what we can call it as coefficient of rolling resistance. W is the weight of the vehicle. Then aerodynamic resistance can be given by half rho A V squared CD. Rho is the density of air, V is the vehicle speed, CD is called coefficient of drag, and A is frontal area, frontal projected area. Okay. Then the gradient resistance is given by W sin theta, where W is the weight of the vehicle, theta is the gradient. So now you see here the rolling coefficient F for W. W is a constant if it is constant, and Fr is also constant. So rolling resistance is simply whatever be the vehicle speed, it remains the same. So it is a horizontal line, rolling resistance. Okay, this is what you call it as rolling resistance. Okay, certain value independent of vehicle speed. Now you see the aerodynamic resistance. In this, say A is constant, coefficient of drag is constant, even assuming air density is constant now, the aerodynamic resistance is proportional to square of velocity. So it's parabolic. This is how the aerodynamic resistance will be. Okay, aerodynamic resistance. I think we should show it from 0. This is the rolling resistance. I should show aerodynamic resistance like this, right? The aerodynamic resistance. Okay. Next is gradient resistance. Let us say theta is some 10 degree. So W 10 degree, whatever you get, it is again independent of the velocity. So you can say this is the one. If it is 15 degree, maybe it is like this. If it is 20 degree, it is like this. Okay. So gradient resistance and the rolling resistance, they are independent of velocity. Aerodynamic resistance is proportional to V square, right? So then you can add all of them, right? That is gradient resistance, aerodynamic resistance, rolling resistance for a given theta, then we can draw the total tractive resistance curve. Okay, total tractive resistance curve we can draw. Right. So now the thing is, if I multiply this vehicle velocity, tractive resistance into velocity will give you tractive power required to overcome this resistance. Now let us get into the details of this. Rolling resistance, as I mentioned already, this is given by Fr is equal to F suffix R W. As I told you, this is coefficient of rolling resistance and W is the weight of the vehicle or load on the wheel. So why rolling resistance happens? It is due to hysteresis in tire material due to the deflection of caracas while rolling. So mainly due to hysteresis. Basically what you can see here, when you see the tire like this, you see here at the contact, it is not a line contact. So if it is a tire like this, sorry, and if I draw a line, there should be in the ground only line contact. It is not that. See, this is how it spreads, and this is how the reaction will be distributed at the contact point. Right? So the resultant of this is not exactly acting at the axis line, right? So it is acting something towards right. So there is an offset like this. This R into E will create a torque, a couple opposing the wheel torque. Okay, the net will be TR minus this. That is how the rolling resistance comes into picture. Correct? So this rolling resistance, it is possible we can model it as E, right? E is this distance and R dyne is the dynamic radius of the wheel. Okay, Fr is equal to E by R dyne. We can find out. Right. So as I said, secondary friction between the tire and the road caused by sliding, air circulation inside the tire, fan effect on the rotating tire on the surroundings, all these, offer the rolling resistance. Right. How to find the rolling resistance coefficient? One is, I said, this is how we can define. How do we estimate? There are many equations, models available to estimate the rolling resistance. This is one of the models. Fr is equal to Rx by W, where Rx is called rolling resistance force and W is the weight on the wheel. So this can be approximated like this: C W by D root of H2 by W. C is the constant reflecting loss and elastic characteristic of the tire material. D is the outside diameter. W is the weight on the wheel. HT is the tire section height. W is the tire section width. Okay, so this is one of the models that is available to estimate Fr. So what are the factors that affect the rolling resistance? One of them is, you see here, the type of road. On the x-axis you can see inflation pressure and the coefficient of rolling resistance. You take suppose concrete road, inflation pressure is low, correct? Coefficient of rolling resistance is high. As the inflation pressure decreases, you can see that coefficient of rolling resistance decreases. At low inflation pressure, you know that if the pressure is low on the ground, so the wheel contact area will be more. Correct? Like this. But if the inflation pressure increases, it decreases, and rolling resistance coefficient decreases. Medium hard soil, the same you can see here. They have given a range. It decreases. But if it is sand, higher the inflation pressure, then rolling resistance coefficient will increase, because the tire starts getting buried into the sand. So be clear about that. That is why it is better to maintain low inflation pressure if it is too sandy, right? Fine. It depends upon the tire technology used. A radial tire, you can see, for low speeds, it's quite low. Speed increases beyond a point, it increases exponentially. So also bias belted, bias and all that. Radial tire, it is very low. Okay, low compared to other two tires. Again, it also depends upon production and temperature. You see, whatever be the type of material, here production, tread production, be case and side rubber production, high hysteresis material, that is the type of material. But one thing you can see here, as the temperature increases, rolling resistance coefficient decreases. So based on this, they have created those models for finding out the coefficient of rolling. So in bias, you see here this kind of sharp rolling is due to standing waves. Here in this region, all of a sudden the rolling resistance values increase. Now you can see each tire wheel assembly will have certain natural frequency. So when you start running, okay, speed is the frequency with which it rotates, that is excitation frequency. These two are equal, then you can, these tires start squirming like this, right? This is what happens. Okay, so because of that, this kind of a phenomena, they call it as something like standing wave phenomena, that you can observe if you run the tire on a rolling drum, right? So a standing wave, also known as stationary wave, is a wave that remains in a constant position. This phenomena can occur because the medium is moving in the opposite direction to the wave, or it can arise in a stationary medium as a result of interference between two waves traveling in opposite direction. Correct? So like this. That's what is standing phenomena. Because of this kind of nature, this rolling resistance increases. Right. Rolling resistance you can measure using coast down test. What is coast down test? Something, you take a flat road, take your vehicle, right? Start your vehicle, reach to a certain acceleration value, certain speed value, sorry, like this. Start here, reach to a certain speed value, then you switch off. Correct? Velocity versus time. Then vehicle speed slowly decreases and vehicle will come and stop at one point. Okay, first, okay, this is the point to switch off. Now what you do is take a small short time. What is the deceleration value you measure? So deceleration, let us say dx. Correct. Deceleration we can measure. Mass of the vehicle we know. So Fx. Okay, total resistance we can measure. Dx dot com. So that means to say the vehicle is slowing down now. So there is a resistance being offered. This resistance we calculate. This resistance is nothing but mass of the vehicle into its deceleration. Mass you know, deceleration value you measure. Okay. So let us plot that force for time. Okay. Correct? That resistance force, let us mark. Okay, this is the resistance force that has acted. Next time step you take. Again measure the deceleration. Again measure the force. Probably you can go on joining all these points. And finally it will become 0. This is total Fx versus vehicle speed. Okay, right, fine. Vehicle speed you measured. So this consists of two things: aerodynamic resistance and rolling resistance. So in this aerodynamic resistance we can calculate half rho a v square cd. As we measure v, assuming all these are constants, we can measure the aerodynamic resistance. Correct. Aerodynamic resistance if I subtract. Correct. Aerodynamic resistance if I subtract. And finally I might get only a constant value. This minus this if I start doing it. So I might get something like this. That is what your rolling resistance is. So that's how we can measure using Coast-Down test. So you have to do it for smaller step. This is what they have done: run number, time, speed, distance covered, all these things. So the table below shows the data loaded into Excel from the report generator screen. This shows that the total time for the coast-down deceleration from 100 kilometers per hour to 10 kilometers per hour is 113.67 seconds, and the distance it was done is 1423 meters. From this you can calculate, and after that we can call it as FR, or rolling resistance coefficient, can be determined. Some of the rolling resistance coefficient values for different types of surfaces I have given here. Correct? Okay. Unmanned road surface, firm road surfaces like this. Of course, obviously because of burying effect, this will be high. Okay, that's how we can find out the rolling resistance coefficient. Now another very important thing is how do you find CD, drag coefficient. So there are various ways we can do it. One way is we can do computational fluid dynamics simulation, CFD, and you can study the pressure distribution of the vehicle at different speeds. From that, it is possible to find out the coefficient of drag. Another one is we can do wind tunnel test and we can find wind tunnel test. Right. So drag force we can measure. dA is equal to half rho v squared CdA and all that. It is given by lift force and side force. Right. So you can see here aerodynamic lift and drag with different vehicle styles also. It will do different types of back, notch back, square back, fast back, hatchback. So from these kind of analysis, like from internal test or aerodynamic this thing, we can find out what is the coefficient of drag of the vehicle. Right. Also we can find the lift coefficients. So from these, again, what is the pitching moment that can happen, yawing moment that can happen, and rolling moment can happen. This also it is possible to estimate. Right, such things we can take those things into consideration, right, while doing vehicle dynamic analysis. Okay, all these things I have already explained. If at all variation in aerodynamic pressure distribution, you may get the roll effect, the pitch effect, even the air effect. So at high speeds, anyway, when you are running at low speeds, these effects may not be very high, but beyond certain speeds, like so more than say 100 kilometers and all that, these are all very important. They play an important role. So for high performance car, it is necessary to take these aerodynamic forces into consideration. Okay. So the reason why I see these are all the fluid mechanical equations. I presume you know about those kind of a thing, right? How to calculate and all. So I have not written down all those Bernoulli's equations and writing about it, but we can always say what it is and all that. That is not a problem at all. See, suppose P1 is the pressure on the front. Say two sections you can take. V1 squared by 2 plus Z1 is equal to P2 by rho so it is incompressible fluid I am talking about at low speed, V2 squared by 2 by Z2. So you take your vehicle like this. So this is the wheel here. I'm talking about 1 and this is 2. Correct. So let us say P1 minus P2 Okay, let it be rho. Here I'll cancel z1, z2. They are along a line. They're equal. So it is v2 square minus v1 square by 2. This pressure drag you can call it. So let us say v2 square minus v1 square, let me represent by simply v squared by 2. And this rho I'll bring it here, rho v squared. So p1 minus p2. Let me multiply this by projected area, say A. So this is also I multiply. So this you can call it as drag force, pressure drag. This is equal to now half rho A v squared. But you see here, it will be such that the shape is such that all the kinetic energy is not converted into pressure, only part of it. So that coefficient is CD. Okay, that's how we can do it here. Pressure drag, right? The same way you can do it in this direction, that is lift force. Then you can same thing you can do it along this, that is side force. Okay, right? Again you can divide front, rear, and you can find out all these things. Okay, then force into a distance, you get the moment. You see here pitching moment. You got this multiplied by L, that is wheelbase length. So multiply these wheelbase, you can get pitching moment, yawing moment, and rolling moment. Okay, fine. So that is the idea behind this. Next, gradient resistance. So if at all you take a gradient, simply you take a gradient, right? If this is your vehicle here, the weight of the vehicle will be acting vertically downwards. Now if I resolve this, parallel to this plane and perpendicular to this plane. Let us say this angle is theta. So this angle is also theta. So this is W, this should become W cos theta. And this should become W sin theta. If your vehicle is moving in this direction, W sin theta force will be opposite this. That is what I call it as gradient resistance. Okay. The slope hill, to test the gradability of military vehicles, there are several slopes beginning with around 10% grade. That is 5.7 degree. The steepest slope is around 70% grade. Correct? That is around 35 degree. Correct. So more than that, grading is difficult. Most of the highways, I think the grade angle is around 32 degree. 32 degree. Okay. Gradability, it is a rise over run. Okay. So we'll find the gradability in all these things later. Better let me avoid here. Okay, sir. So we understood grading resistance. If theta increases, W sin theta also increases. But if it is downhill, then it supports, right? So now you have understood tractive resistance. Now let us talk about effort. To overcome these resistance, engine has to develop tractive force or tractive effort. So let us say here in this point the engine develops engine torque T. Then when you multiply it by gear ratio, torque gets multiplied. Again it will come to final drive. There is a final drive ratio. There is a speed reduction. Here also speed reduction. Here also speed reduction. Again torque gets multiplied. Eta is the efficiency at losses, transmission efficiency. So that is the torque available at this point. Torque by this radius will give you traction force, traction effort. Okay. So this again, if you look at the engine characteristic, engine torque like this. At low speed the torque will be low. Then the torque increases. Then after that the torque further increase the speed, torque falls down. If I draw torque versus engine speed. Correct? So now I can draw this tractive force like this. Okay, with engine and vehicle speed changing the gear. I get this. These are the resistance. At any given point of time, this is the resistance offered, which is the sum of rolling resistance, aerodynamic resistance, if there is a gradient resistance. This is the tractive effort available. So that means this is the energy that is available for acceleration. A vehicle can accelerate. So that is the thing that keeps on doing. But at one point, the tractive resistance and tractive effort, right, aerodynamic resistance increases, they become equal. Beyond that, accelerating the vehicle is not possible. Then we say that is the maximum speed of the vehicle. Right? Now here I have shown vehicle speed. Pi, diameter of the wheel, RPM, multiplied by 60, so per hour. So many meters per hour divided by 1000, so that you will get 1000 kilometers per hour. So engine speed you divide by gear ratio and final drive ratio, then you will get this speed and substitute that speed here. Suppose it is in the engine speed is something like 5000 RPM. It is in the, let us say, gear ratio is 2. Then final drive ratio is 3. Then you will get the wheel speed. Right? Yes. RPM. That's how the maximum speed you can attain. What is drawbar pull? The torque on the driving axle creates a force between the tires and the road, which is used to propel the vehicle. This gross force is termed the tractive effort, and the net force, that is gross force minus rolling resistance, is the drawbar pull. Gross force minus rolling resistance is what you call it as drawbar pull. Okay. You see here, it is motor torque in Newton meters, overall gear reduction, that means to say engine torque, overall gear, so total torque that is available, divided by resistance or radius of the wheel, that means you got the tractive force, minus rolling resistance you subtract, then you get the drawbar power. Okay, right, sir. So now you have understood the road resistances or road loads on the vehicle. With these ideas, now we can start looking at developing some models for study of vehicle dynamic behavior. So let me stop at this point and we will continue in the next session. Till then, thank you very much.